Hello everyone. In this session, we will see how we can convert a procedural code written in C language into a control flow graph and thereafter identify the test passed in that control flow graph. We will first start off from a given piece of code, and here as we see it's a function which takes in some parameters, and there are some rather linear code where variable declarations are being done. Since the construction of control flow graph concerns with how the flow of control carries forward in the code, we will be more concerned in seeing that, and hence variable declarations are linear in nature. For example, once the code falls through in the int num, this particular line, that is line number 1, it will automatically fall through the next line and thereafter till it reaches the while. So we all number these nodes together and club it together as node number 1, and we draw it or represented it in the CFG as node 1. Next, when the while starts, the while condition, if it is true, it will fall through here. If it is false, it will exit and come out here in this particular line number 9. So this is exactly what happens. This node number 2 is the decision making block or the entry block for while loop. If it is false, it directly falls into node number 9. Otherwise, it enters the loop. And where does it enter? It enters the first line, where we see that line 1 is equal to line 2, line 2 is equal to num. These are all again linear codes, and hence they are numbered sequentially, and it falls through sequentially to node number 3 altogether, right? So after this, it comes into an if statement. It encounters an if statement, and if the if condition is executed as true, then it will move into this number 4 node, which is curln is equal to num. So that's what happens. If 3 is executed as true, it falls through to 4 and thereafter, but otherwise it goes into the second case, which is node number 5 directly. So if it is true, it goes into this and executes everything else, but otherwise it directly goes there. So the second if statement is modeled as 5, 6, 7, 8 node numbers. If it is true, it moves into 6. If it is false, it moves into 7, and thereafter both ends at node number 8. In this case, we don't have an else path, and hence the structure is different. There is only a true path from 3, 4 and 5, and directly in the false path it goes into 5. So slightly both of them are if. You can make it out from the graph, but one is an if then else statement and the other is just an if statement. Finally, when the while loop ends, it moves back to condition number 2 to be executed. So this is where number 8 node ends. Once it ends, it will reiterate and go back and check the while condition. If it is true, it will again execute the whole block. If it is false, it will go out to 9. So this is the line which is shown here from 8 thereafter back to 2, and it will execute this whole part. Once it becomes false, it will come out and enter the node number 9 part. In node number 9, there are successively 3 if statements. So as we can see, we are blocked out this entire thing. Each of these have no else part, so it is simply either if it is true, it will do something, otherwise it will fall through to the next if. So that's exactly which we see in this block. Either it is true, it goes through 10 and comes to 11, otherwise it is directly coming to 11. Likewise, from 11 through 12 to 13, if it is true, otherwise it directly comes to 13 and thereafter. Finally, the whole code terminates at 16. So as you see, we are aiming to learn from this lecture is that if this is the code which is given to you, how can we first of all identify which are the sequential code? And once we identify the sequential code, we have to number them together with the same number. Once we see that a particular code has a chance of branching out, that is, the control may flow in different directions, we number it differently. And similarly, we use the same logic to construct the CFG. So I'll just go back once again and we'll quickly see how we'll start off. So initially there are 4 lines of code which are sequential, which are clubbed together as node 1. Thereafter we start a while loop beginning at node 2. It terminates at node 8, but in between it moves through 2 if statements. One of them has, these are the sequential block modeled as node 3. One of these if statements does not have an if statement like a false statement, so this is a true block as numbered as node 4. And the next block is the next if statement which has an else part also, and that is entirely modeled within the nodes 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 is the exit point of the while, which goes back to 2 to check the condition and then keeps on repeating until it exits out in node number 9. After node number 9 we have 3 successive if statements, and that's how we get these structures. Okay, so this is the entire CFG. What do we do once we get the CFG? The next part is identifying paths in the CFG. That means from the beginning node, that is 1, how can we traverse to 16 through the different paths following the directed arrows? The first thing is, necessity is to design effective test cases. By effective test case, we mean that we have to start from 1 and reach 16, and we should navigate through nodes which are directed or connected through the directed edges. The next is each path should be executed at least once. That means through this entire graph, there should not be any edge which is left uncovered. So the second point basically ensures that we cover each and every part of the code. And thirdly, we have to find out or optimize what is the minimum set of paths in this control flow graph, and that is defined as cyclomatic complexity. Maccabi has already given us the formula, and we can use either of these formulae for calculation. The first one is E minus n plus 2, where E is the edge, n is the number of nodes, and plus 2 is in the basic formula. So here we see that we have 16 nodes, that is n is equal to 16, and edges, we have to count how many number of edges. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So we have E as 21, N as 16. That makes 21 minus 16 as 5, plus 2 makes it 7. So we get the value of Vg from the first formula as 7. Let us now recheck with the next formula, that is R plus 1, where R stands for number of bounded regions. This is one bounded region, this 9, 10 and 11, okay? And this again is another bounded region, and this again is another bounded region. So we have 3 bounded regions on this side. Similarly here we have one bounded region here between 3, 4, 5. We have one between 5, 6, 7, 8. And we have one here for the while loop. So in total we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And plus 1 makes it 7. So we get the same value using the second formula as well. And finally, we can use the third formula, where P stands for the number of predicate nodes. Predicate nodes means nodes which have the out degree more than 1. That means more than one number of edges are emanating from that node. One such is here. In node number 2, we have 2 branches. Similarly, another one is at node 3. There are 2 branches. One is at 5. There are 2 branches. One is at 9, there are 2 branches. One is at 11, there are 2 branches. One is at 13, there are 2 branches. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 predicate nodes again, and then 6 plus 1 makes it 7. So all throughout we use the same formula and get the value of Vg, or cyclomatic complexity, as 7. So once we get this 7, what is the significance? The significance is these are the number of paths from beginning to end. Path 1 we can trace, it's listed out in the edges, and similarly path 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Hope you have understood this. Thank you for your patience.